how do you get investment in Shark Tank? If I knew, I would have gotten it already. There are many companies who do not raise money on Shark Tank that do very well, and vice versa.
Everyone needs to discover what's right for the consumers in their own categories.
I am a big believer that businesses should not be built from the model. They should be built from a problem. Two simple questions: why people who are buying, and why people who are not buying.
So internet has actually opened up that distribution channel and made it kind of democratic for everyone to be used.
People are becoming important to organizations like they have never before.
I have two luminaries of the startup ecosystem, Peyush Bansal and Gaurav Khuswaha. Thank you both of you for being here. I mean, we've prepared questions, of course, but there's some insights I have, and I was talking to both of them before we came on stage. So I want to ask both of you, there are lots of very young founders here who are just starting their journey. So my first question is, how many visiting cards did both of you have to give to potential investors, success stories? किस को कार्ड बांटे थे आप लोगों ने और उसका कोई फायदा हुआ? Peyush.
Okay, so in my case, this is my second startup, and my first startup was also funded by Excel Partners. So when I sold that to Flipkart, moved out of it and decided to start my second startup, I already had Excel Partners kind of backing me up. So to that extent, in Bluestone specifically, life had been easier.
The first
relatively speaking, in the first one, and that was back in 2006, 2007. And at that time, there were only 10 VCs. So yeah, 10 people.
और जवाब दिया? Did anybody respond when you gave them your cards?
No, so I think those VCs were also kind of discovering what to do, etc. in India. If you in 2002, but till 2002 there were no VCs. 2005, 2006, I think some of the early ones, Excel, Nexus, Sequoia, etc. They had set up a shop, but everything was very small. There were no there was just feature phones. There were no smartphones. In fact, I remember internet usage used to peak during the lunch times. Because all the IT engineers, they would actually, in those lunch times, they were allowed to browse internet. So that was the nature. Though it had still not become mainstream. I think there were lots of niche ideas, etc., which was kind of, that were gaining ground. And I think VCs were also kind of more in discovery phase. I remember in my first startup, we raised $2.5 million back in 2007, and that used to be a very, very big deal. These days, even a seed check is bigger than that. So things have changed. I think entrepreneurs have evolved a lot. VCs have also evolved a lot. So from those 10, 15 VCs, now there would be more than 200, 300. I don't even know what the count is. So I think that it has evolved quite a lot.
Peyush.
Thank you, Archana, for inviting me. Thanks, everyone. It's been long back. I think the VC ecosystem has evolved. I was a little shy. So I used to have a lot of visiting cards, but I was shy talking to people, so never ended up giving many. I used to bring the visiting cards and they used to go back. And eventually I had to throw them all away because visiting cards became not popular anymore. But I got an interesting one right now, which is interesting. It says founder and it is engraved, so it's very interesting.
So innovation.
Yeah, but what is interesting about the visiting card is that you can see the energy, right? Everybody is trying to slip their visiting card to someone because they are really trying hard to go to the next stage. And I think that is the relevance of visiting card. So whether somebody calls back or not, I think one call is good enough. Everybody doesn't need to call back, but one should not stop trying, right?
So to all the founders here, Peyush Bansal is telling us that we should keep giving our visiting cards to everyone. You're going to get a lot of, yeah. So to come to the point of this panel about building brands for India, you both built, stellar brands, large brands. What is that 0 to 1 journey for building a consumer brand? We hear a lot of that 0 to 1 journey in tech. But how would you tell founders here, what is it that you need to do to get to the first 10 crores, top line, ARR, 20, then 100, and so on?
Yeah, I think the initial journey, at least for me particularly wasn't so much about chasing an ARR. I think those are very innocent, especially I didn't go to an MBA school. So, I didn't know how much, the business wasn't driven so much by business plan as much it was driven by love for consumer. So it was always about, I don't think it was driven by 0 to 1 journey was not so much about, okay, we have to hit this target this month. I think that all corruption happens later, right? Where your mind gets polluted. Initially it was like, okay, I just want to serve this one customer. I got 1 order today. And then you get 2 orders and you really want to do a good job because you feel happy because that customer is really happy. And you start finding out, learning what is the problem that you're trying to solve. Of course, everybody has a dream, of what they want to achieve and the problem that they want to solve. So that is, I don't necessarily know, at least in my case, that you started with saying, oh, I'll build the largest consumer brand, who's going to write me a check? It didn't at least work like that. You're like, okay, this is a problem. I like to work on this area. I did something. There's a customer who's interested in using my product or service. I serve them. They get very happy. Then they tell a few more people about it. Then you start getting more orders, and every day you feel more and more excited and someday you'll get very lucky that suddenly a lot of orders will come and you'll carve the path. I think that's the 0 to, I would say, not even 1 but 10 journey, because time flies in that only. You don't even realize what is happening.
Yeah. So in our case, when we started in 2012, and I think not only, so in our case, what happened was our initial journey was purely online. And I think this is something that has happened over the last 20 years or so, that online as a distribution platform has really opened up. So let's say 20 years back, if you have an idea for a new product, or if you have a new product that you feel a lot of people would like, then for you to actually distribute it was not that straightforward. A lot of distribution chains, etc., were monopolized, and hence it was, if not impossible, it was very difficult to build new brands, new product brands, etc. So internet has actually opened up that distribution channel and made it kind of democratic for everyone to be used. Secondly, internet has also enabled discovery. And if you again go back 15-20 years, there was no discovery. In fact, the way people would know about something new is through TV ads, which was a very costly affair and could only be undertaken by companies that already had a vast distribution. So it was kind of a chicken and egg problem, whether you solve for discovery first or whether you solve for distribution first. Internet came and gave you the ability to actually use internet in a very one-on-one way to discover the people who are right for your product. It also allowed you to distribute that product directly to them. So going from, let's say, 0 to 10 crore to 50 crore became more of a unit level exercise, as opposed to, let's say, signing up 100 stores and then doing a lot of marketing and then building onto that. So I think internet has, across different categories, internet has enabled entrepreneurs to build, even if they have a very niche idea, even if that idea is applicable to, let's say, 1 in 1,000 people. In offline world, in a traditional offline world, you would not be able to do that because it was just too sharp. But with internet, because you can reach one-on-one to all these people, you now have the ability to build something from scratch and take it to a reasonable scale purely online.
But did you think about it as that there's a large opportunity, I'll build a large company, or it was one step at a time?
So I truly believe that online only jewelry brand would be a large opportunity. Over time, and we grew to almost 50-60 crore revenues in 3 to 4 years after starting. But I think over time what we realized was a lot of people in our category especially were using online very, very effectively for discovering new products. But given the nature of the category, given that a lot of these products were in the range of 40,000, 50,000, 1 lakh, 2 lakh also, the comfort of buying or the confidence of buying was not as that confidence has not matured as much as the discovery process. So we went omnichannel we went omnichannel after that and opened quite a lot of stores. And this is something that Lenskart had done even before that. So we took a lot of learnings, lot of lessons from their playbook also. But what we discovered in our category, where the price points are very high, where the fear of the category is fundamentally very high, online serves beautifully as a discovery platform, but offline also works as beautifully in converting that. So when the two channels come together, that is when the magic happens. Needless to say, online still had a very, very big role in the very early stage, because that allowed us to scale the business from 0 to 50 crore. That allowed us to actually iterate on the product, on what kind of product do customers want, without burning a hole through our P&L. So online only was good enough for us to take us to around 50, 60 crore, 70 crore kind of revenues. And beyond that, Omnichannel actually then took it to a different scale altogether.
So, there's a big conversation right now about omnichannel. I think 2-3 years ago after COVID, there was a lot about online only or online first, digital first. But now omnichannel is and you also refer to that. So, Peyush, what's the magic? Online, offline, omnichannel, where's the magic to get consumers, discovery, and, it's cost efficient to build the business?
Yeah, I think I know I don't believe on all this omni-channel, to be honest, and it may sound like rhetoric and cliche, but I feel that industry picks up these things. Now the buzzword is omni-channel. When we opened store, we didn't even know the word omni-channel, right? And now they call it omni-channel. Now the buzzword is AI. Now everybody is talking about AI. Now somebody says deep tech. Eventually, I was trained at Microsoft, and Microsoft, they only know customer, right? You need to ensure what your customer doesn't walk away with channel, customer walks away with the product. You need to know what business you are in and what is the service you're providing. Rest everything you have to learn to cut out and just focus on that. Now, as part of the journey, if you figure out, at least in our case, we figured out that people were really liking our product, which is glasses, and when they were coming online, they were really liking our glasses, but a lot of the people were not converting online. The conversion rates were 2 to 3%, and we were wasting a lot of money getting people on the website. They were not buying. So we opened store to let these, and then we opened store as a trial, and we realized that a lot of people who were coming online started coming to the store. And now you can call it, but you cannot start. And now people say omni-channel, but you can't start from that. You need to see in your product, in your category, are you solving that problem? Now in our category, that problem was solved very differently because specs are custom products. So you could go in the store, get an eye test, which you cannot do online today, and you could choose and somebody could place an order. You don't consume specs on the spot usually. You place an order and then it comes in a day or two. So I think I am a big believer that businesses should not be built from the model. They should be built from a problem or a passion area. And then you work forward. And if you can ask yourself every day 2 simple questions, why people who are buying, and why people who are not buying, and go like 10 layers deep into understanding and then try solutions, then you may build the next buzz term for the next 10 years. But if you try say कि अभी omni-channel is the success formula, even I don't know for Lenskart is it a success formula, because channels will change. Tomorrow let's say eye test is happening online and people don't need to go to the stores. So then, and maybe online penetration today in a billion people, only 100 million people or 200 million people are buying online. So you still have a large number of people who are using internet but not shopping on internet. But who knows, in 10 years from now, 800 million people are shopping online and 200. But if you become slave to the channel on this, but if you are in touch with your customer, you will know when that is happening and you will adapt yourself to the offering. No matter what channel you sell on, you can't, if I give you a poor pair of glasses, or there is not enough differentiation between my product and what you are able to get from outside, then any channel is immaterial. Right? But if I'm able to give you something which is 10x better and is becoming better every time you come, it's surprisingly great every time that you come, and good is becoming better and better, then even if we shut all stores today, I'm pretty sure consumers will then say open the store, right? That's how you have to think about it. It's a little bit bookish, but at least in my view, that's the model that works.
So the founders here, the takeaway is consumer decides it. and the business follows, right? Piyush, that's basically. Gaurav, anything you want to, I mean, you already touched upon this, but.
I would totally agree with Piyush, I think, and different categories have different realities. There might be categories where online only is doing the full job for you. There might be categories where online is doing just half the job, or where online might be the distribution and offline might be discovery. It can be anything, but I think everyone needs to discover what's right for their for the consumers in their own categories, and the product, and how is their product very, very differentiated and, let's say, much, much better than what is already available in the market. And channels are just tools available to you. So you can use this channel, that channel, tomorrow there might be some other channel, tomorrow there might be VR, AR, who God knows, right? So whatever those are channels. Channels are not the product. Your product is the product, and consumer is what tells you what to do.
Right. So, there's a report recently about premiumization, Indian consumers wanting to spend much more. Indian consumers were seen as wanting value for money or cheaper products. Both of you run businesses, brands which, Gaurav, you of course, it's a very expensive product. It's part of our celebration. Any sort of celebratory occasion in India has jewelry. Piyush, yours is a more functional product. So how do both of you see about premiumization? How do you see that? Is the Indian consumer now willing to pay for brand value? Or is it more functional? Is it more, as we call it, pocket friendly in India?
Yeah, so in our category specifically, if you see historically, Indians have always bought jewelry on the rate of gold and then some making charge on top of that.
So the name of my fund is Rukum, which means gold, by the way.
Sorry, what's the name?
The name of my fund is Rukum, which means gold, by the way.
Okay, nice. Great. So Indians had always been very, very sensitive. And if you look at your moms, if you look at your grandmoms, and they would say that, okay, isme to itna hi sona hai, you should not pay more than that. And every jeweler...
Making charges nahi dene.
For generations, they've said zero making... Aapke liye to zero making charge hai, right? Was the statement. But, so basically, yes, forget about the practices and so on. What we realized, and a lot of people advised us, that okay, you cannot charge a lot, you cannot have making charges, etc. But what we have discovered is Indians have actually, and especially the new generation, they are ready to pay premium, they are ready to pay extra for something that is being differentiated. And for a very long time, what was happening was the whole product innovation, etc., had stopped in the category, because people said, okay, if the businesses said that if people are not paying for it, then so be it. So the designs, etc., were not, there were hardly any innovations, etc., in design. The category itself had become very boring, so much so that a lot of new generation folks started moving away from the category. So when we took a very design heavy approach and we said, fine, we will have high making charges, we will actually charge, we will give you great designs, we will give you great products, and we will charge it, and we'll be very transparent about it. And I think surprisingly a lot of folks were open to it. So it's historically maybe that people are just not ready to pay for services, pay for designs, but these days people are. If you look at lots of other companies also, you look at urban company, you look at a lot of services industries also in the country in general, people are paying up a lot. You look at Starbucks coffee, there was a time when people said 10 rupees zyada koi nahi dega chai coffee ka, and people are actually paying 300 rupees, 400 rupees, 500 rupees also for the coffee. So I think we have moved away from that quite a lot. Still a lot of distance to travel, but if you have a great product, people are open to paying up for that.
Piyush, what's your view?
Yeah, see, I think in general people want to improve their quality of life. Right, it is known, not now, I don't think this is a Goldman Sachs need to tell you this, you know this from ages. You look at Airbnb, they improved your quality of holiday, that's why they did that, right? Travel companies, they allowed buying tickets easier. At the click of a button, they gave you better price. So generally, everybody wants to improve their quality of life. And pehle everybody used to own 2 pairs of shoes. Now you started running. Then you own like running shoes. Now you say slow marathon, fast marathon. So we want to elevate our quality of life, right? And and it's not a new phenomena. And as per capita GDP in India will grow. And people have aspirations, and aspiration in India is high thanks to the government, right? People are hopeful. When people are hopeful, they want to improve their quality. People are improving in they want these services. They have been wanting to improve it, but pehle koi paise kharch, nobody used to let them spend money. So now the new generation, I come from a Bania family. You ask your father, how are you doing? He'll always say poor, right? So, but that time is changing in India. So people are saying, okay, I'm earning some money, I want to invest. And, their partners are also saying, why are you not spending? So when income levels are going. What is important is now the key question, or whether people will pay for the brand. Yes, I think people pay for the brand. No, we have to understand that brand is not advertising, right? Brand is a promise. It comes with, it's a trust, or it's some proposition of design. A lot of times we feel, okay, we will, now that I'm advertising, I should be able to charge a premium. But that's not necessarily brand. Brand comes, it's a combination of a lot of things that come together that builds brands, and it requires a certain philosophy, and over a consistent period of time you need to do it for people to pay premium. People will pay premium for sure, but then it's not as simple as it looks like, okay, people will just pay premium. You need to gain that credibility over a period and trust, and the day you break that trust, people will stop paying premium. So some of this you cannot, it's so intangible, you cannot necessarily predict it over Excels and figure out whether people will continue to pay premium. People pay premium. That balance is very important. How much premium you want to charge, how you want to position, what value. Whether people will pay premium or not, one thing which I fundamentally believe is that people are value conscious. So, and people buy proposition, they don't buy price. I was sitting with Darshan Bhai a few days back, the owner of Winnie Cosmetics. He has built all the very great brands in India. And he was telling me people buy proposition, they don't buy price. So your proposition has to be strong, right? And that's what is very important. And then from there, everything can work backward.
So we all know, of course, that Peyush is a shark on Shark Tank and extremely popular. So Gaurav, I'm also going to draw you into this conversation. Peyush, what does it take for a founder to get investment on Shark Tank? And Gaurav, are there any favorite companies from Shark Tank that you think Peyush missed, in case you're watching it? Okay,
I have not watched it.
All right.
So,
and Peyush, everybody wants to know, how does one make it in Shark Tank?
Yeah. Firstly, you need to be lucky. Because you need nothing works without luck, you should know, right? You can be smart, but 20% is always luck, 80% is hard work. And you need to ensure that I'm on the panel that day. So, so I've grown up watching Shark Tank, right? And that's how this whole episode of Shark Tank in India got me excited. I think to a lot of people, I think, how do you get investment in Shark Tank? If I knew, I would have gotten it already. But I think if you can articulate the problem that you are solving and the solution really well, and you know your business really well in terms of the economics, and third, you are humble enough to be able to listen, and you are vulnerable on the show where while you have an answer for everything, you also don't have an answer to everything. You know what I mean? Like you should be willing to, it should come across that you're coachable, because you have come to Shark Tank not for money, you have come to Shark Tank to someone to help you. But if you're demonstrating there that you cannot be helped, then there's no point. I think if you can do these 2-3 things, it will probably increase your probability of getting money at Shark Tank. But I also want you to know that raising money on Shark Tank is not the success metric for companies. There are many companies who do not raise money on Shark Tank that do very well, and vice versa. But yeah, I think anybody who's investing there is investing in 30-40 minutes, and there is very little that they can know about the business financials. So they're only betting on the person, and what they want to understand is that, does this person, founder, know the problem? Do they look on top of things? And are they coachable? Are they willing to listen? That's it. It's not that tough.
Okay, final question. We are almost out of time. What areas in consumer you think founders should look at right now, exciting to build? Gaurav, to you first.
I think across categories, people people can go much deeper into the categories. So multiple things are happening. So people have a lot more disposable income. They want better quality of life, and hence they'll become a lot more nuanced about the kind of products that they are willing to buy, right? So there was time when it was just snacks, then became healthy snacks, then became, let's say, within healthy specifically for diabetes or some such thing. So you can look at any category, you can go a lot more nuanced in that, and then come up with products which actually do a far better job, let's say for 1/100th of the people, while ignoring the rest 99. So you don't necessarily need to create a mass brand or a mass product. You can create a very niche product, and then you can reach out to a target audience. I think that that slicing and dicing of a lot of categories, that micro targeting, not the marketing micro targeting, but I'm saying product wise micro targeting of consumers can be done, and I think there can be huge opportunities in that also.
Peyush, any areas that you're excited about?
Many, right? I think India is a very interesting phase. There are a lot of big problems that are still unsolved. Like, when if we take parallel, let's just look at medical ecosystem as this thing. Last 2 years, I've been to hospital a few times. Someone or the other in the family was unwell. But that whole process looks like, non-transparent in some ways. And we have seen this happen in travel, you've seen this happen in eyewear. So I kind of feel that why can't somebody just give comfort to somebody about that this is an honest, transparent experience, and we will charge a certain amount of margin, give a great service. And it's not easy, of course, but technology, I think, and talent put behind it can solve. So I think medical overall, there are a lot of problems unsolved. I think pharma is a big problem. Like, people yesterday in the news, there was like cancer medicines are fake. Like, I don't know if there is somebody who's built that. So I think pharma is I think sports is very interesting in India because lifestyle, as people are getting more disposable income. I've seen in COVID now, there are people cycling, running, a lot more. You didn't used to see these sports. So I think there's a lot of opportunity in sports to bring this athletics. Like, whether, I again would say Goldman Sachs will not need to come and tell you that in India there'll be Olympics, right? There'll be athletics. We will also get there. So we can, people will venture. So there is a lot of opportunity, I think, in sports also. Yeah, and I think the other area where there's a lot of opportunities, I think for the first time, people are becoming important to organizations like they have never before, because in India, organization building to the next scale is only happening now, and people are beginning. Earlier, the businesses were only, they used to care about land, roti kapda makan, that's it. They didn't used to care about people so much. Organizations that cared about people actually became really big. So now people are becoming important, intangibles are becoming important. So if one is building services which allow organization to solve people problems, largely HR related, I think there's a lot of opportunity in India. Every startup here, I'm pretty sure, is struggling with hiring. Right?
Absolutely.
Every startup I know is struggling with hiring. Every startup is struggling on how to hire the right talent. Every startup and you go to any large company in India, pick the size, they're also struggling with the same problem. The scale is different. So there's a lot of problems, and I think there'll be a lot of work that will happen in this area.
So thank you to Peyush and Gaurav. I think it's been a great panel. I hope there's been a lot of takeaways for the audience here. Oh my God. I know, but I think we don't have Q&A. I'm really sorry.